maybe you just need to quit. Has anyone ever told you that? Like, maybe you just need to quit, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Whether it's something good, whether it's something bad, maybe you just need to quit. Hey everyone, Crystal Fry, personal identity coach and transformational communication strategist. And that is what I want to talk to you about tonight, about quitting. But what I want to talk to you about quitting, I want to talk to you about quitting the things that are not good for you, the things that are not helpful, that are not going to get you where you're going. Things like, maybe you should quit worrying. Maybe you should quit worrying that whatever it is that you want to do, somebody else is already out there doing it. Yeah, guess what? They are. But here's the deal. Nobody else is going to do it like you. So maybe you should quit worrying about that. Maybe you should quit doubting yourself because you don't feel like you're going to be good enough, because you don't think that you have the education or the smarts or the credentials or whatever. You don't have the street cred. You don't have, the experience. Maybe you should stop doubting yourself, because guess what? One, you have to start somewhere. You're never going to get experience if you don't go out there and try and figure it out, right? And if you don't have experience, if you're doubting yourself, that's going to stop you from going to go get it. So maybe you should stop doubting yourself. Maybe you should stop thinking that you aren't good enough anyway. Maybe you should stop that. I can't even tell you, like, the number of things that I have talked myself out of, or not even allowed myself to really think about possibilities because of that whole thinking I'm not good enough thing. The list is so long. You could probably drop it down, start the paper at the top, and it'll probably go down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So maybe you should stop doing that, because here's the deal. Here's the real deal about that thought process of I'm not good enough. And listen, I get it. If you have watched me for any length of time, you know that that was one of the biggest issues for me, was the constant, noise in my head telling me that I wasn't good enough. That is one of the biggest lies, one of the biggest fallacies that there is, that you aren't good enough. Because if you weren't good enough, you wouldn't be here. There would have been no need to create you if you weren't going to be good enough for what it is that you were created to do. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. That is an excuse. That is a way for us to feed our insecurities. That's a way for us to feed our negative self-talk and those beliefs. It's a way for us to keep ourselves stuck inside our little tiny box of a comfort zone. So let's stop doubting yourself and thinking that you're not good enough. Let's quit thinking that you're not good enough. Why don't you quit waiting for someone to save you? Again, you've got ideas. You are a smart individual. You have the ability to go do it. If you have the dream in your heart, you have everything that you need within you to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. I promise. Yes, you may have to go get help. You may have to get some additional, information or education or training. You may need to grow along the way to get to that ultimate goal. But you already have everything that you need within you, right? If you need education, you already have a brain that is open to receiving that information and learning. If you need to, overcome barriers and obstacles, guess what? You are already equipped to do that. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying you're not going to have some rough patches, but you're already equipped with the ability to do that. So quit waiting for someone else to come along and save you and make everything happen for you. My friends, that just doesn't work. Our lives, real life is not Pretty Woman, okay? I know that's like a throwback to the 90s. I love that movie, but there is no millionaire who's going to ride up in a limousine and save you. Okay, that doesn't happen. Quit waiting on someone to save you. You are good enough to do everything that you want to do. Stop waiting on someone else. In that, why don't we quit blaming other people for where we are? That was a tough one for me because it's much easier. And raise your hand. Listen, if this is resonating with you, throw up some hearts or likes or drop a comment down there. It's much easier to blame someone else or something else because, the sky is not the right shade of blue today, because the sun is not shining quite as brightly, because it's 10 degrees colder today than it was yesterday, because he or she or they or whoever. It's so much easier for us to blame others for where we are and the fact that we are not where we want to be. Because if we can blame other people, then that takes the burden off of us, right? It's their fault. It's not mine, right? It's their fault that I didn't get the job that I wanted, even though don't meet the qualifications. I did an interview for it and I didn't even apply for it. It's their fault that I didn't get it though, right? No, 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 no. Like when we stop blaming others for where we are. And again, like I said, this was a struggle for me too, because I then had to take accountability for the fact that my choices brought me to where I was. My choices, either the choices that I made or the ones that I allowed other people to make for me because I didn't choose, right? When you decide not to make a decision, that's still a decision. So quit blaming others because you're stuck. Do what you need to do to get yourself unstuck. That's where the real power is. Take full ownership of your life and your choices, full ownership, and do the things that need to be done so that you can get where you want to be. Again, not always easy, but worth it. Absolutely worth it. Here's another really good one. How about quit attaching your value and your self-worth to something that is outside of yourself and outside of your control? Let me give you a couple of examples. Your job, your career, your family, your relationship, your extracurricular activities, your position within, government. I just throw that out there. I'm thinking of city council or, decision makers, things like that. Stop attaching your value and your self-worth. Hey, Jamal, it's so good to see you, friend. Stop attaching your value and your self-worth to things that are outside of yourself. Because all of those things that I just mentioned, job, family, relationships, career, political office, any of those things, all of those things can go away tomorrow, in the next minute, in the next hour, in the next month. All of those things can go away. And when we attach our value and our self-worth to those things, if something happens and they do go away, we no longer have value. That's what our mindset is. If that thing that we have attached our value and our self-worth to goes away, then what our brains think is that we no longer have value. And that's not true. Your value and your self-worth comes from within you, not your external. Whatever it is, again, job, family, career, all of those things. Your value comes from within you. So quit attaching your value and your self-worth to things that are outside of your control and outside of you. Another one, quit waiting for the right time. How many of y'all have done that? I'll do it when fill in the blank. When the kids grow up, when I have enough money, when I lose 10 pounds, when I feel better about myself, when I get a better haircut, when my hair grows out, all of these things. How many of you have said, I'll do it when the time is right? My friends, the time is never right. The lights are never all green. You're going to have times when you have to stop and start. You are going to have times when things don't go your way. Hey, Christina, thanks for being here tonight. You are going to have times when you have to push through. The time is never going to be right. Let me tell you a little something about time, just in case you're just in case you're not aware or you haven't watched me before, the only time that we have is right now. That's it. That's all we've got. No one is promised tomorrow. No one is promised next week, next month, next year, the next decade. Your time is right now. So stop waiting. You know, those dreams and those desires that we talk about that you have within you that were planted inside of you before they even came to the surface and you knew about them, the time is never going to be right for you to go out and live your life. You have to live it now. Whether things are going good or whether things are going bad, that's part of life. It's not all sunshine and roses, you know? Without the valley, you can't appreciate the view from the mountaintop. Without the rain, you can't appreciate the sun. So stop waiting, quit waiting for the time to be right. And one more thing that I want you to quit, and then I'm going to close out. One more thing. Quit telling yourself why you can't. And quit allowing others to tell you why you can't. Instead, I want you to start telling yourself why you can. And I want you to start surrounding yourself with people who also are telling you why you can. And that sometimes is really a difficult thing, because sometimes those people in our lives that are telling us that we can't and feeding that negative train of thought that goes through telling us why we can't do something, sometimes those people are close to us. And that's hard. That's hard. When somebody that you love and trust and respect, when you have a close relationship with someone who is not really being all that supportive of what you want to do or what you believe that you should be doing, or, you know, the desire within your heart, when there's someone who's close to you that doesn't support that, man, that is tough. And I know what that feels like. So I feel for you if you are in that situation. I have experienced that. It is not cool. But here's the deal. You have to start distancing that. And if it's really if it's like an intimate partner relationship, someone within your household, a really close family member, a really close friend, you may not be able to physically distance from them, or you may not be able to, maybe not spend as much time with them. You might have to start distancing what you say to them. You might have to start saying things, you might not be able to share everything with them. Because if they're not going to be supportive of what you're doing, you can't allow them telling you you can't to continue feeding what you're trying to overcome in your mind by telling yourself that you can. Okay? So I know that one is a tough one. And because I don't want to make it all about this one also is a tough one too. Just one more. Quit making it all about them. And when I say them, I mean like everybody external of you. Now, that doesn't mean that you take everything and now make it all about yourself and become self-centered, Polly, but you have to quit making everything about them, because it is not about them. Rashonda, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I'm so glad to have you here. Excuse me. You have to stop making it all about them. Because remember when I said stop or quit tying your value and your worth to things that are external of you? That means them. For me, it was my family, because that's my heart, right? That is my heart. They are it. But I made everything about them. And you know what that did? That left nothing for me. Nothing. I had given it all out already. I didn't start with me and making sure that I was full so that I could pour out of my abundance. I didn't do that. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I should do that. I gave them everything first. And when you give others, it doesn't just have to be your family, okay? When you give others your best, you give everything out to them first. there is nothing left for you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not how it's supposed to be. Okay? And I understand that a lot of you operate that way because, again, that is exactly how I operated for a very, 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 very long time. It unfortunately doesn't leave anything for you. And you know what happens? You reach a point where you can't give anything else out. You don't have anything left to give because you're not putting it back in. You're not taking care of yourself first. You know how get on an airplane, hey, if the oxygen masks come down, you put yours on first so that you can help other people, right? Secure yours first and then help somebody else. Because if you are depleted, you can't give into the lives of anyone else. So that is my rundown of things that maybe you just need to quit. So if you're just joining, welcome in. Go back and watch from the beginning so that you can get all of those points of the things that you need to quit right now. And if you need help, always, please do feel free to reach out to me. You can send me a message. You can send me an email. You can connect with me in a multitude of different ways. Happy to provide some support in any way that I can. So I am going to sign off. I hope that you all have a wonderful night and join me again real soon. Crystal Fry, your personal identity coach and transformational communication strategist. Have a great night, y'all.